Hello people of the internet, this is Shaky Jake, and I really need a catchphrase. You are watching Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords, with the restored content mod. Previously on KotOR 2, we started the main game as our main character, the Jedi Exile, who is here, who is still looking for clothes, because he has been pretty much undressed for the entirety of the previous part. And we also met 2 to 3 other characters. We met Kreia, an old woman who's very cryptic. We met Atton, who is the Han Solo type character for this game. And we also met T3M4 for the first time, from this character's perspective, not from our perspective, because we played as T3 in the prologue. Now the reason I'm heading back here before I go down to the next phase of the Peragus mining facility, something I thought about during the recording of the last part. Now, we were in a KotOR tank to begin with, which is fair enough because we've been injured and various other things. So naturally, because we were in a KotOR tank, we had our clothes taken off, etc, etc. So why on earth do all the other people here get to still wear their clothes? It doesn't make sense. Unless if they just wanted to see my beautiful, handsome, magnificent body. I don't know why I was the only one who got undressed when I was in the KotOR tanks. So, got a bit stuck there for some reason, invisible wall. That does happen from time to time. So the one thing I want to do is I want to access this medical computer and go on the patient treatment. If I check the last treatment request, because I have 2 spikes, I can actually use one of those spikes to attempt to track the treatment request. This treatment was administered by remote from another console within the facility, 3403. You cannot determine its location, but you would recognise the ID signature if you access the console. Okay, what that will do, apart from giving you 150 points of experience, or 150 experience points, if I can English properly, is that will set up a side quest, or it continues a side quest, where you can find out who issued the order, but you have to find another terminal in the facility in order to find out who. Kreia, have you got anything to say?
Yes. What have you found?
Nothing much, but I just want to keep telling you that I keep hearing your voice as I explore this place.
Ah, yes, I noticed that as well. It may be that our proximity during our long slumber may have had unforeseen consequences.
Now, I have already had this discussion, but I still want to repeat it anyway. Unforeseen consequences?
We seem to be able to speak without speaking. Perhaps this effect will pass with time.
What if it doesn't pass?
Then hope that we have little to say to each other, lest it prove distracting.
Okay, I don't care. Just stay out of my head, got it? I've already told you this.
I have little choice, and neither do you. It is an advantage to us both, and I suggest we make use of it.
The patients in Medbay were killed by a lethal dose of sedatives. Any idea how it happened?
I do not know. Why did they spare you?
I suppose I should tell you because I was a bit vague last time. I wasn't. I got the same dose, but I survived for some reason.
Indeed, a Jedi trance could protect one from such poisons. In fact, the sedatives may have been intended to keep you unconscious for some time. It would prove lethal to those untrained in such techniques, however. Most curious.
You seem to know a lot about Jedi techniques.
And so do you. Perhaps we could discuss it at length later on. Now we have other concerns, among them finding our new enemy.
And maybe when I return, you'll actually answer my question.
I have found that answers come in their own time, not ours. Turn your energy to the matter at hand. If we cannot find a way out of here, the answers will prove useless anyway.
Alright then, I'll be back. So, not much from Kreia there, but it does flesh out a couple of lines I missed out on last time, because that is one thing I did in the previous part, where there were a couple of lines of dialogue that I normally trigger, but as I didn't last time, I wanted to make sure I got them in this recording. So hopefully we will get dressed in this part on our quest for clothes, because we do need to get dressed at some point. Let's head to the Peragus mining tunnels that T3M4 kindly opened for us last time. Now, there is going to be more gameplay this time around in this part, but we will still get interrupted by dialogue bits here and there, such as now.
Can you read me?
Now, depending on what option you pick here, you can either say the obvious, or if you don't say the obvious, then Atton just repeats it anyway. So I'm just going to go for the option where Atton says it instead. Yes, for a minute I thought you and Kreia were telepathic.
What did you say? Your signal's crammed with static. There's a lot of interference down there, probably caused by that explosion. Still, it looks like there's a route down to the Paragus fuel depot, if the passages haven't collapsed. That explosion knocked out most of the sensors. There should be an emergency crate in the next room. Watch yourself. There's a lot of droid broadcasts in that area, but I can't pin them down.
I'll be careful then. If you detect anything, signal me.
Will do. And be careful down there.
Of course, Atton does take this literally, and he'll interrupt you every couple of minutes. So, if I'm talking and I stop randomly, you'll know why, because Atton starts talking. Here we get our first actual clothes of the game, the miner uniform. We get the med pack, survey gear, Paragus mining shield and the safety harness. Now, one thing I will point out about Knights of the Old Republic 2, compared to the first game, a lot of the items in this game are randomised, i.e. they're not fixed encounters. You will find random stuff in most of the containers in the sequel compared to the first game, where you always get the same results. Occasionally there will be some parts where you get forced equipment, such as this, but for the vast majority of the game you just get random stuff, which you can play to your advantage. You can save, reload, try and get better stuff. I don't do that normally because it takes far too much time and I can't be bothered to do stuff like that. I only do it for specific sections in the game. Anyway, let's get changed very quickly. So, miner uniform, survey gear, which gives us awareness +1 and resistance versus sonic, which is useful for this area. The miner uniform just gives us a defense bonus of 1. And if we just put on the shields, that would be very good. The safety harness gives us +1 demolitions, which will be useful for here as well.
Find the emergency supplies?
Yes, and it looks like there's some clothes in here.
About time. The whole half-naked Jedi thing was wearing a little thin. Look, there may be some survey gear and a safety harness inside the crate, too. The miners wear them when staking claims on the asteroids. The survey gear is designed to spot and protect you against sonic mines. And the safety harness can be helpful if you try to disarm them.
That exchange is a lot funnier when you're playing as a female character, because Atton is unsurprisingly disappointed that you find clothes as a female, whereas if you're a male he's actually grateful you found them. It's one of the few things I like about playing as both sexes in this game. There's some kind of mining energy shield in this crate too.
Yeah, it's like a military issue energy shield, except it's designed to protect the miners against lasers and heat. Should work against the droid mining lasers. It won't last forever, certainly not against multiple laser hits, but it may buy you some time if you get ambushed by a battalion of droids.
How comforting. Tell me how it works.
Just equip it on your wrist and then you can activate it like a med pack. Again, it won't last forever, so make it count.
Of course, we already know how to use this, but for the sake of in-universe, I will ask. Understood. Anything else?
Just one more thing. I've narrowed down some of the ID signals, and if the numbers are right, you're sharing those tunnels with a battalion of mining droids.
Any advice on taking out these droids?
Well, these are construction models. They shoot like a moisture farmer militia. Since they rely on ranged weapons, get in close with a melee weapon and start bashing them. In close combat, the guy with the vibroblade has the edge over the guy with the rifle, droid or not. Otherwise, just drill them from a distance. If they're not shielded, that is.
Shielded?
Yeah, it's possible some of the droid models may have mining shields on. If so, the shields may absorb laser fire. You can usually tell when a shield is active. It'll make an electrical field around the target. If they activate a shield, the best thing you can do is hit them with a melee weapon or try to burn out the shield with continual fire. But that could take a while, and it leaves you a target.
Can I sneak by them?
You could, if you have the skill in a stealth field generator. These droids rely on thermal sensors, primarily to detect fuel deposits. The good thing is, that explosion down there kicked up so much heat and steam it may blind them. A bit, but not much.
I'll do that. Anything else?
There's got to be some central controller down there. See if you can find a terminal by the main access shaft. That'd be governing intelligence.
Okay, so that was quite a long conversation, and we're asking really obvious questions, but I'm doing it for the sake of how our character would respond in universe at this point. So I'm going to take Atton's advice, and I'm going to switch to my sword for a while, because that makes more sense. The gunslinger part of the playthrough can wait. I haven't banned myself in
Watch where you step. I'm picking up a lot of sonic mines down there. Don't run unless you have to. makes them harder to spot. If you have any skill with demolitions, you might be able to recover them and use them against the droids. That is, if the mines don't get you first. If you have survey gear or a safety harness, put them on. They'll make spotting and disarming the sonic charges a little easier.
Thank you for interrupting me, Atton. I was just about to compliment you on your fine advice, and then you decided to just completely stop me mid-flow. Why are there so many charges down here?
Those mining droids, especially the excavator models, are designed to arm and set sonic charges for mining. Chances are if they still had charges after they went rogue, then they may have set them to try and kill the miners. And you. If you see one of those excavators, watch out. They may use their undeployed charges as projectiles.
You can actually tell Atton that you don't want to hear any advice from him, but I never actually do that because you lose out on some unique lines. I'll do that. Here's one thing. So at the moment my difficulty is set to difficult. This is one thing about Knights of the Old Republic 2 that is so poorly designed, I personally feel. I don't know about anyone else. So I'm going to try and recover this mine with my somewhat low demolition skill. Skill too low. Okay, if I change the difficulty down to normal and then try it again, I should, in theory, be able to pick this up. Like that. See, this is what I don't understand about the difficulty settings in Knights of the Old Republic 2. You get penalised very harshly on the harder difficulties if you don't have a specific skill at a certain, a certain point distribution. And I think it's wrong that I have to keep adapting the difficulty to do certain things. Now, let's carry on with the game. So here we got a broken droid. We got some components and parts. Now, to be fair, the parts, we get so many parts in this game, so it's actually useful to actually activate this mining droid here. We've got 10 repair parts, so we'll add one. We can detonate it. Oh, what? Why did it... Yeah, game, I hadn't even finished doing what I was doing, but whatever, the game just decided to interrupt me there. I can't actually activate this mining droid. I swear I didn't press anything, the game just automatically took me out of that. But whatever, he seems to be fine just without shields and stuff. And he's one-hitting everything, well done. That is a good droid, I'm glad I repaired him now. Yep, this droid is OP. I don't actually repair him very often, but maybe I should in the future. So I'm going to keep going forward. Atton will probably interrupt again shortly, and I think I'm due for another level up. Yeah, 490 points I need for the next level, which is useful. Okay, that droid is OP. Can I have him as my party member for the rest of the game? Because he's really good. Okay, so these shielded ones are a bit of a problem, but I'll take these maintenance droids out as quick as you can because they will heal the other droids up. Okay, there's our level up. Okay, I'm actually going to stand away from him because when they explode, they do quite a significant amount of damage. And I switched to my gun at the worst possible time, but that's not a problem. Now, let me go and pick up some remains. I think here we get an advanced mining laser. That might be better than what we're using. Let's just have a look. I think it is. I selected the wrong thing. We're going to use the advanced mining laser for a while. Oh, and that's one thing you'll notice as well. One of the mods I've downloaded actually allows you to use 2 guns at once, so normally you shouldn't be able to use a blaster rifle and another gun, but I've got a mod that allows you to do so. For the sake of realism, I will not be doing that with most of the characters. There will be an exception here or there, but I won't be doing it with my character. Some people might find that mod to be a bit game breaking. If you do, I apologise in advance. So this guy has a lot of credits, which is useful. I think the droid's just going to chill here now. I don't think he serves any purpose. Oh, we can actually engage with him again, though. No, I think we're fine. Yeah, we'll leave him alone. I don't think it's going to follow us anymore. So we might as well level up here. And skills. I am tempted to pick up security, but I don't want it to cost 2 points, because that's not a good investment. My plan is to at least get most of these up to a yellow or orange colouring, so they will only cost 1 point instead of 2. I already did that with demolitions earlier. So I'm going to boost demolitions up a little bit more, and I'm also going to put up awareness, because that's linked. The others I will focus on later. Now, feat, what does it recommend? Dueling. We do not want dueling, as I've already said. I could give myself blaster pistol, because that would be useful for later on. Toughness is another good one. I think I'm going to go for security next, because that's... No, not security. Computer use. I think computer use will serve more purpose down here. So, powers. Ooh, we got 2. What are the recommended? Burst of speed and full scream. That's good. Full scream is a pretty good power, but I'm going to go for burst of speed, and I'm going to go for... The reason we're getting 2 powers every so often is because we're a Jedi Consular. I need a power that's useful against droids, because we've already got stun droid. Burst of speed will be useful in general. I just need to remind myself. Well, we're never going to pick throw lightsaber, because I don't intend to use a lightsaber this playthrough, so we can scratch that one off the list. Don't pick anything with human characters, because for the most part we're not actually encountering humans for the most part. I'm going to go for Force Aura, because that will give us some good shielding there, which I don't normally go for, but I want to see if I can get what I can. We need to get some buffs on our character. Atton will probably interrupt in a moment.
Hey, watch out. That explosion has superheated the tunnels ahead. That steam will cook the skin off your bones. If you can find a mining energy shield, switch it on. It should protect you against the heat if you move quickly enough.
Well, luckily I have 4 speed now, so that won't be a problem. Understood. Now, I'm going to put on the mining shield for this, and I'm going to use burst of speed. We just had a pointless tutorial thing there, we don't need to know. Now, even with burst of speed, you still lose a significant amount. I'm going to try disarming the mine on difficult, actually, once I've dealt with these droids. Rapid shot, please. Oh, that was beautiful, thank you. Wow. Okay, I'll come back for these mines in a moment once I've taken out these droids. It would be nice if I didn't shoot the floor. There we go. I am surprisingly not doing too bad here. Oh, nice double kill. Okay, I'm going to start using guns a lot more often, because I'm so used to using a sword at this point of the game that it actually takes me a bit longer. Now that combat's over, I'm going to try and disarm these mines, or recover them. Let's see how that goes on difficult with 2 extra points. Skill too low again. Fine. This is what I mean. So I have to keep adapting the difficulty just to recover some mines. Some people will say that's cheating. I really don't care. I just think that's I don't like it when games make it impossible for you to do certain stuff behind a difficulty level. Now, I'm sure it isn't if you invested everything in demolitions, but you know, I'm fussy. Once I've disarmed these mines, I usually put the difficulty back up. I'm not playing this like I did with the first game, where I strictly stayed on impossible difficulty. Okay, we got some more stuff here. Are there any more mines? Let's just double check. No, I think that is everything. Okay, let's put the difficulty back up then. Atton will probably interrupt again in a moment.
You're getting close to something big. I think it's the main ventilation shaft. If so, the central droid controller should be somewhere nearby. Keep an eye out for it.
That is a
I'm
nice...
picking up a lot of droids. If you still have a mining energy shield, I'd equip it and switch it on.
Yes, this is a nice bit of cinematography game. Thank you for that. There aren't just mining droids down here. There are sensibles too.
Sensor? It must be maintenance drones. Watch out. Those little pests will try to repair the mining droids if you don't gun them down first. Still, it's odd they're still active after the explosion. They don't have the same shielding as the mining droids. Be careful of those droids. I don't like this.
Understood. Now, one thing I find interesting is that little droid back there. We never actually see it, so I don't know why it was there. But they haven't actually been too annoying this time. Normally, I'm so used to them healing the droids if I don't target them first. Okay, they're putting the shields on, so I'm going to switch weapons. Oh, nice bit of flamethrower there. And I am missing so much because I have pretty low strength, which isn't good for my character. Flurry did a much better job, which I'm surprised at because I didn't think that was going to work. That was a nice, effective stun droid there. So, this bit here, you can't walk off the edge of anything in the Knights of the Old Republic games, but it's interesting that you do have like a little pit of doom thing here. Corpse has... We're getting a lot of energy shields. How many have we got? We got 9 energy shields. I don't remember having that many energy shields at this point in the game normally. Okay, here, I think I'm going to need... Oh, hold on, no. Let's go on this. We can unlock it, but we don't have enough spikes. We can look at the camera for different things. I gotta say, that's where we need to go. It's a bit weird how it cycles between 2 cameras. What's this? I don't remember this.
Everybody here? What's up, KotOR? We're supposed to be sinking fuel siphons into the 3218 asteroid shelf right now.
Forget the siphons. You know that survivor they pulled from the freighter? One of the miners said they served with him on Malachor 5.
Malachor 5? So he's one of the survivors. Or worse, a Mandalorian. So what?
Not a survivor, idiot. He's one of the Jedi from Malachor 5.
If he's one of the Jedi, hell, we can't have him walking around here. I don't know what he'll do.
I thought all the Jedi were wiped out in the Civil War, weren't they?
Guess they missed one. But it gets better. I did some checking, and that bounty on Nar Shaddaa is still live.
What? You want to sell the Jedi to the exchange? KotOR, have you been chewing spice?
Look, you know how big that bounty is? That Jedi's our ticket off this rock.
KotOR, there's no way the officers will go for that. They'll lock us up for sure.
Then we'll improvise.
Right, so that sets up another little mystery for Peragus. That will get followed up later on as we progress through this. Now, let's see if we can do some stuff with these droids. We can, but we're not going to do so. However, we do actually get to basically blind them for free, so let's do that. And then the other thing we can do is we can shut down these containment fields, because we have to, otherwise we can't leave this area. And there we go, we're done. Now I thought we could open this up, but clearly not. I'm going to just temporarily switch to the plasma torch and then open this up. We get 1 broken item which we can break down at the workbench later. I will actually show that off at some point when I get a chance. I don't know why I was attacking that again, but okay. Now let's take all these droids out, get some nice experience points. We only need just under 2,000. I'm not quite sure why this gun's so overpowered against these droids, but apparently it seems to be. Although it might be because they're blinded, so maybe they're dying a lot quicker because of that, I'm not sure. So my strategy is use my gun for everyone who's not shielded and then switch to swords for anyone who is. Yeah, shooting the floor is not going to help us kill anybody. Okay, wonderful. I usually like to clear this area out for the experience points. You don't necessarily need to do this. You could literally just go the right way and you're done. But we want that experience. And the regular attack, I found out, is much better than any other attack you currently have. And I never really knew that until recently. So you're less likely to miss with a regular attack, and then that just proved me wrong. You're less likely to miss with a regular attack compared to Power Blast or Rapid Shot or Sniper Shot or anything. Same goes for swords. You're less likely to miss with your regular attack compared to Critical Strike, Flurry and Power Attack. Almost got the description for that wrong. That does happen with me from time to time. Now I can't remember which way I'm supposed to go here, but I don't think it's this way. Right, because we haven't got any security skill because I didn't invest in it, I need to switch over to the plasma torch again and open this. We lose some experience points for not using security, but that's not a problem. We can always make up for that later. Lot of broken droids here. No surprises there. Oh good, there's mines. I need to switch difficulties again. Because the idea is, the reason we're recovering these mines is we can either use them against the enemy AI or we can sell them. And it's not a bad money making scheme, to be honest, recovering mines and then selling them. And that's one of the reasons why I invest in demolitions so early in the game. You don't necessarily need it once you start getting party members and stuff. Ooh, heavy mining laser. How does that look? 216. I'm going to try that out. Now, I know I could, in theory, use... That is a nice looking gun, especially with the guns mod I've got installed. That is beautiful. Now, in theory, I could just have 2 blaster rifles going at once, like this. But I don't want to do that with my character because 1, it's a bit too cheap, and 2, there's only 1 or 2 characters I can actually envision using 2 blaster rifles at once, which is one of the reasons why I actually downloaded that mod, because I want to beef up a certain character who warrants that sort of treatment, and those of you who have played the first game will know who I'm talking about. So that's the way that you can go for extra stuff. Here you can... This is the way you're meant to go.
Yeah, I'm picking up some strange readings. What are you doing down there?
Playing the game, Atton. That's what I'm doing. Trust me, whatever you've detected, it's probably my fault.
The containment fields in the mining tunnels are shutting down. You need to get out of there before they vent fuel to the surface of the asteroid through the tunnels.
Great. How much farther is the exit?
I may be able to keep it contained until you get the turbo lift to the fuel depot, but not for much longer. I'm locking down the turbo lift to the administration section now to keep the blast from spreading. If you've got anything left to do down there, make it quick, because where you are is going to get real hot real soon.
Good thing we're not timed then. Can I attack? Okay. Oh, he's got a shield on. That's not a good start. I forgot I still had the plasma torch. Let me change that. But yeah, it's a good thing this game doesn't time you, otherwise this would actually be quite tense. All these droids have shields on, but because we disabled their sight, they're pretty much useless. The maintenance droid doesn't seem to care. And yes, I know the difficulty's still on normal. I've done that so I can recover these mines. The only problem with the droids having their sight basically disabled is they're more prone to running around. Okay, let's just get rid of this droid. This maintenance droid is causing more problems than the actual droids are. Right, let's recover some mines in a moment, assuming the combat music stops. Because I've learnt as well that, I don't know if this is actually true or not, but you want the combat music to not be playing so that it doesn't affect security chances or mine chances or anything. It's a very bizarre gameplay mechanic, but it makes sense. Because your character would be trying to multitask and then they'd be less likely to succeed. Okay, here we need to use a mine, so that's not a problem. We've recovered enough, so let's see what this does. There's a couple of containers like this in the entire game, so you want to do this every so often. We've got another energy shield that we don't need, and some credits and some med packs. Right. Yeah, I don't want the sword. We'll stick with this. Now then, let's carry on. And hopefully they don't enable any... Oh, of course they'd enable shields, as I was about... Oh, yeah, there we go. They've actually healed a droid for once. That's the first time ever so far we've seen that happen. So what you want to do is try and take out the maintenance droids so that you can actually get some good damage off on everyone else. So we're going to do that now, hopefully. There you go. Now this is why stun droid is actually quite useful down here, even though it's not actually doing us any favours at the moment. Right, I'm switching to a sword so these guys can get taken out a bit quicker. Oh, we've levelled up again. Wonderful. I will deal with that in a moment. Again, if this was timed, I'd actually be dead by now, considering the circumstances that Atton's told us about. Okay, we're getting quite a bit of stuff here. Right, before we go up, I'm going to level up, so let's do that. We're still neutral. Attributes recommended is wisdom. We don't want wisdom particularly. I'm actually, as much as I'd like to go for dexterity, I'm actually going to go for constitution because I've realised that we can actually get some good implants at the medical bay or medical station, whatever it's called. So we're going to do that. Next, I don't think I need demolitions too much, but computer use will be useful, so let's do that. Powers, we're back to 1. Recommended, it's probably going to give me 4 scream. Yes, we do not want 4 scream. What I am going to do is go for energy resistance, because that will be useful for doing... Basically, they'll do less damage to me. And I should have invested in this more in the first game, but alas I did not. Force deflection, I do want to get this for definite because we won't be using a lightsaber. This is a must. So I will get that at the most convenient opportunity once I reach level 6. Okay, so now, if I switch back to my gun, we are pretty much done down here. So let's proceed up. I am going to play for a bit longer because there is another bit I want to do before I finish this recording. Back up to the fuel depot, or fuel depot. That is a beautiful athletic roll. Well done, me. Okay, there is another ginger in this game. I completely forgot about you. Those goggles are a questionable fashion choice. He's pretty much dead, I think.
Greeting. It is a pleasure to see you alive, Master. Provided my receptors are not off focus. How may I be of assistance?
Well, you could not sneak up on me for a start. I have an old woman already doing that. How do you know me? I'm not your master.
Answer. I am a survivor of the Harbinger, just as you were, Master. With the unexpected termination of my previous master, you are the only organic which I may now serve.
Okay, that's one annoying thing as well, because the music doesn't play as loudly as it should, because of the slightly buggy update this game has had. You will hear that Steam sound effect go off quite a bit, so I do apologise for that. Who was your previous master?
Answer. The captain of the Harbinger, Master. I was in transit to Telos to facilitate communications and terminate hostilities. However, we did not arrive at our intended destination.
What happened?
Irritated answer. Oh, Master, it is such a long, dull story, and not terribly relevant to our current situation.
For a droid, you don't take orders too well. Now tell me what happened.
Hesitant explanation. That has been the subject of considerable discussion since our arrival here, Master. Many have attempted to claim you and this unit as salvage. I was crudely interrogated concerning our brief history together on board the Harbinger, before its communications, weapons, and engines suffered the cascade failure that disabled the ship.
How come I don't remember any of this?
Speculation. It is possible you were incapacitated and locked in the well-shielded cargo compartment as the Harbinger was being systematically crippled, Master.
Incapacitated?
Clarification. Yes, Master. No doubt the flurry of destruction on board the Harbinger somehow drugged you into a stupor from which you could not awaken. Most curious.
Maybe you'd better explain the stupor part.
Placation. Merely a turn of phrase, Master. The implication that your state was due to the result of ingesting large quantities of Juma juice was unintentional. I meant to communicate only that you were somehow rendered unconscious before you were locked securely in the cargo hold.
See, even this HK unit thinks we were drinking a little bit too much before the start of the game. Care to explain how I was locked in the cargo hold?
Clarification. By locked, I meant sealed, Master. My vocabulator seems to be malfunctioning.
Well, they're basically kind of the same thing, but anyway. Fine, what happened next?
Recitation. Following the unusual set of coincidences that led to the cascade failure in the Harbinger's systems, We were boarded by a small freighter with unknown ID codes. It appeared that this freighter had been attacked, and the captain wanted to study it. This freighter appeared to be still spaceworthy. Your cargo compartment was breached, and you were taken on board the freighter shortly before the Harbinger's systems began to go critical. I, too, managed to board the freighter before the Harbinger's destruction. We were most fortunate to have survived, Master.
Any idea what had attacked the small freighter?
Evaluation. Master, I do not know. Judging from the damage, it had been attacked by a much larger vessel. And when it attempted to escape the Harbinger with you on board, it was fired on again. Addendum. It does seem odd that such a small vessel has a high probability of attracting the attention of much larger vessels. Not a welcome trait in a freighter, to be sure.
What was this freighter that the Harbinger brought on board?
Explanation? I believe it was a smuggler's vessel by the name of the Ebon Hawk. Speculation.
We know that name.
Purpose, I do not know. Perhaps it was always its intention to play dead, then kidnap you off the Harbinger and rob me of my bounty.
Well, we know what the Ebon Hawk is. Our character doesn't, in theory. And the Ebon Hawk came here?
Apology. My memory core cannot provide a clear answer on that point, Master. Suffice to say that once we arrived at this floating rock, our situation became much clearer.
How so?
Explanation. Despite my market value, Master, the miners were far more interested in you. It did not take long for me to ascertain the reason for this. While an HK protocol droid is a valuable piece of property, Jedi are worth much more in certain exclusive markets across the galaxy. Painful admission. I must confess to feelings of inferiority at the speculated difference between my value and the price for your capture. I was forced to remind myself it was not due to a failing of my model or function, but because you were a Jedi.
How did they find out I was once a Jedi?
Surprised answer. Why, I told them, Master. You are the exiled Jedi who served with Revan in the Mandalorian Wars, are you not? I hope all that has happened has not been the result of a miscommunication. If so, then the problem lies with the KotOR databases, which are notoriously spotty.
That information wouldn't have been in KotOR databases, only in Jedi archives.
Indignant exclamation. Master, I am only a protocol droid, but it is part of my function to know such information and relay it to any interested parties in the interests of terminating any potential hostiles.
Potential hostiles?
Quick clarification. Apparently my vocabulator has suffered some damage, Master. I meant terminating any potential hostilities.
I see. Go on.
Answer. All that has happened has been because they believe you to be a Jedi, Master. They debated what to do with you as you lay unconscious in the medical bay. One group seemed intent on selling you as property. The other group opposed this.
Then what happened?
3 standard hours after the division between the miners became apparent, accidents began to occur throughout the facility. A result of improper maintenance, I believe. These accidents coincided with the degradation of the mining droid behavioral cores. Crude models are prone to such failures, resulting in murderous rampages. The mortality rate of organics in the facility rose quickly.
So what happened to the rest of the miners?
Many miners began to join you in the medical bay as a cascade of flawlessly timed detonations occurred in isolated gas pockets in the lower levels of the facility. The explosions herded the miners into emergency sections of the station, quickly and efficiently cutting them off from communications and facility control. But sadly enough, not the ventilation systems.
What do you mean, sadly enough?
You see, the explosions had damaged specific sections of this facility's ventilation systems, causing a slow, lethal buildup of toxic fumes in the dormitory level.
Are there any left alive?
Answer. I do not know, Master. Ironically enough, any miner that fled to the dormitory level to protect themselves from the droids and the explosions would find themselves in a gas-filled death trap.
Forget them then. I need to get into the hangar bay and get off this rock.
Pitying answer. Oh, that is unfortunate, Master. The hangar is sealed behind a containment field. It would be impossible to open it.
Then how did the T3 unit get through it?
Clarifying query. Did the T3 unit go through the door? I regret ignorance of that fact, Master. Although the door...
Oh, I don't know. I think you destroyed the T3 unit.
Difficulty, applaud the emergency lockdown procedure, which the automated systems have most likely corrected.
What about override codes?
Answer. Only the Paragus Administration Officer would have such codes, Master. If he hasn't already been murdered in an unfortunate accident, then he is trapped in the dormitory section, which has been effectively cut off from the facility by explosives.
If I crawled through mining tunnels to get here, there's likely to be other tunnels.
Theory. You could walk across the surface of the asteroid to the dormitory airlock, but such a route would be extremely hazardous, and I do not wish to see you damaged.
Those miners could be hurt or in danger. We need to make sure they're alright, even if you said they're dead.
Warning. Master, continued exploration of this facility may place you in unnecessary danger. I encourage you to return to the medical bay and wait for retrieval from a vessel that is no doubt on the way, even as we continue this pointless conversation.
I'm your master, and I'm giving you an order to assist me.
Weary resignation. Very well, Master, but there is very little that I can do. You see, the airlock is sealed by a code.
This just keeps getting better and better. Who's got the damn code?
Correction. Oh, I already possess the code, Master, but I am afraid that it will do you no good.
I'll be the judge of that. If you have the code, then give it to me.
Condescending explanation. Master, the console governing the droid maintenance area and the airlock is voice-printed, musing. In the last days of his life, the maintenance officer was quite careful about voice protocols, bordering on paranoid obsession. Conjecture. I suspect once he realized something was wrong in the facility, he voice-locked the droid bay functions. A prudent measure, but in the end, he met the same fate as the rest of the organics.
But you do know the code.
Condescending explanation. Oh yes, Master. The code is Maintenance Control Voice Print ID R1B5. But unless the maintenance officer speaks the code, it is useless.
If the maintenance officer is dead, how can I get him to speak the code?
Answer. Master, you cannot. You are trapped here just as I am. There is nothing to do, except patiently wait for whatever the future has in store for us.
Never mind. I'll be going now. Right, so we got both light side and dark side points there, so I think, yeah, we're pretty much at the same stage we were last time. Now, there are multiple ways you can approach this, and what we're going to do is we're going to find something to basically make the HK unit help us. So I'm going to put some powers on, and then we're going to go out here. Because I'm going to put an energy shield on to be safe. Okay. Fortunately, we didn't get poison there, which is good. Now, this bit of combat can actually be quite difficult if you're not prepared for it, so be very careful here. Let's just take this maintenance droid out with our gun. Sadly, we did not take out the surrounding enemies. Burst of speed's already gone down, which is not good. Unlike the first game, it doesn't actually tell you particularly what effects are on. Yeah, I don't think it actually tells you, which is a bit unfortunate. But I'm guessing that it's probably either energy resistance or force aura that's still on. The energy shield will no doubt last the longest. Let me just uncover that little bit of fog there, because I'm a bit OCD about that. Now, I think here it's going to trigger some more enemies. Yep, here we go. Hello. Now, when I first played this game, I used to skip quite a bit of the dialogue because sometimes, as good as Obsidian are with their writing, they can get very dialogue heavy at times. So I used to skip the dialogue with HK quite frequently, and then I wouldn't know what I was actually doing because I'd skipped the dialogue. But playing it back now, it's actually quite interesting to listen to. Okay, there's more droids around here. Okay, let's see if we can lure some of the enemies away. There we go. Now, attack this, please. That would have been great if another droid had been there, but unfortunately that was not the case. Now, Peragus, I should talk about this. Peragus doesn't have a very positive reception with a lot of Knights of the Old Republic fans. It's a bit like Taris from the first game. A lot of people view it as boring, a lot of people view it as dull and they don't want to play it, and various other things. And I originally thought the same way with Peragus, and I didn't switch weapons there. That was my fault entirely. Now, I used to think the same way about Peragus. I always found it dull, I always found it the opposite of fun in multiple ways. However, as I've gotten older, I've realised it's actually not a bad section of the game. It's very good from a horror perspective. It really... This is the least Star Wars-ish kind of level ever, because it plays on a more survival horror type deal. And I keep pressing the wrong key. There we go. How did you miss a door? How on earth did you miss a door? Thank you very much. I'm going to keep this out just in case there's more doors that need opening. Invisible wall again. I'm not quite sure why. Okay, before we go in here, I am actually going to just quickly check my journal. So we've got the voice print protocol quest, we've got the recover Ebon Hawk quest, and we've got the recent history quest. I'm not going to read all of those, but what I am going to do is I'm going to backtrack to HK and see what's going on. For those of you who haven't figured it out yet, that HK is pretty evil. He's a lot more evil than the one we worked with in the first game. So here we get two useful items, the sonic imprint sensor and the data pad for the same device. So with the protocol droid's help, I've finished work on the sonic imprint sensors. I've installed them in the mining droids, but I'm locking up the original here to prevent the other miners from using its ability to record and play back voices to override the droid's voice print protocols. Okay, that updates our journal, so now basically we might be able to get a copy of the maintenance control officer, who, despite being dead, can still help us in his afterlife. Here we can get some free components, which you might as well. Now the workbench, I might as well show this off because I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to use this. You can use this to either upgrade items that you have, so we can upgrade our uniform. Unfortunately, we do not have anything. And that's literally all we can do at the moment. What else we can do with the workbench is we can create or break down items. Now, anything that's grayed out, we don't have enough components to do, or we don't have the repair skill to do it. So we can't make a Mandalorian shield, for example, but we could make this little gun here. I am tempted to do that, but it's not a very good gun. So there's that. I don't actually do this very often. I know I've played this game so much that I should have actually used that mechanic, but I never actually bothered to. I'm going to try and do that more this time. So,
It is a pleasure to see you intact, Master.
thank you very much.
Greeting. It is a pleasure to see you intact, Master. How may I be of assistance?
Right then, you can help me. What's that body there?
Answer. That is all that remains of the maintenance officer, Master. At the end, he was quite incoherent from the pain, and attempts to facilitate communications with him proved useless. I heard his dying screams as the droids he tended turned on him, mining him, like a piece of asteroid rock.
That sounds incredibly graphic. Did he say anything at the end?
Recitation? Oh, yes, Master. The record of his last moments were...
5 droids, burning through the outer door. They're forcing their way into the bay. Please, someone there! Oh no, they're through! Oh, my leg! They're burning through my leg! Oh, stop, please!
Addendum. His remaining attempts at communication are variations in decibel, Master, ranging from frenzied screams to gibbering inarticulate attempts to beg for his life.
So, if you can play back his voice, can't you speak the voice code?
Objection. Master, to commit such an act would be in violation of the ethics programming most droids are believed to possess. I am afraid there is nothing that can be done.
Okay, so with our persuade skill we might be able to convince him otherwise. But first, believe to possess?
Irritated statement. Master, if you insist on echoing everything I say, this already hideous conversation is in danger of becoming even longer.
I'm glad I picked that. I forgot that was a line of dialogue.
Are believed to possess ethics programming. Such programming would prevent me from using my incredible talents to break a voice print code.
I understand if your limited functionality prevents you from mimicking the maintenance officer's voice accurately.
Irritated objection. Master, there is nothing wrong with my communications functionality. I will prove it. A recitation.
Maintenance control voice print ID R1B5.
There. Was that sufficient, Master?
Yes, I think that's all I'll need.
Confused query. I am sorry, Master. Were you speaking to yourself?
Oh, very often. I'll be going now. Right, so we got some experience points for that. We've got the maintenance officer's voice, so we should be able to get out of this bit no problem. Oh, and before I go, this bit here is essentially where T3 was. He was on the other side here. Now, with Peragus, it gets viewed, as I was saying earlier, the Knights of the Old Republic fans, a few of them think that Peragus is incredibly dull, it's incredibly boring, and that it wastes a lot of time. I personally do not think that. I think this is a very engaging first area. Yes, the mystery's really obvious when you play it back through again, but I didn't fully understand what was going on until I did repeated playthroughs. Partly because I used to skip dialogue quite frequently, particularly around this point in the game, because I was so desperate for a lightsaber at this point. And yeah, I personally think that anybody who downloads skipping mods for certain planets, I've never downloaded a skipping mod for a planet. I've never felt the need to. So I find it a bit weird when people admit they use them. This turbo lift here can take us back up to where we started at the beginning of the game. We don't need to do that particularly, unless if you want to say hi to Kreia or Atton at any point. So the maintenance station. Let's check out a few things because we need to do that. Let's just check the system ID signature whilst we're here. Okay, this matches up with what we found at the very beginning of this part. So the order was given from this terminal a few minutes before the emergency lockdown took place. Okay, so it was a setup. Now I imagine that HK unit probably did it. And let's look at the maintenance logs, of which there are 7 of them. We're going to be here for quite a while.
Finished the sonic imprint sensor prototype for the mining droids. Everyone knows they need an upgrade. The sensor should allow me to issue voice commands to them rather than manually adjusting their routine each time the mining specifications change. I've been keeping the sensor in the maintenance workshop for the time being. I wanted to test it first by recording and playing back some simple voice commands. Finished my examination of the droids from the Ebonhawk freighter. The T3 unit looked like it had shut itself down. The protocol droid, however, made up for it. It talked my ear off for most of the hour, asking questions about the facility, the personnel, and so on. Still, it wanted to make itself useful, so I put it to work until its master wakes up from the med bay. It seems to have some skills in speaking to droid behavior cores, so... There's been some trouble with some of the mining droids, so I'm signing off. Been speaking to the protocol droid about the Jedi in med bay. I thought they'd all gone away or been killed in the Jedi Civil War. The droid told me that his master's the only Jedi he knows of in all the galaxy, and that the Jedi had served in the Mandalorian Wars almost 10 years ago. That would have meant that the Jedi served under Revan for a time. Maybe the Jedi knows what happened to Revan after the end of the Jedi Civil War. Been too busy to enter a log for a while. There's been more and more accidents since that Jedi arrived. The miners are starting to get restless, especially KotOR. KotOR said the exchange is offering a huge bounty on Jedi Knights and that we can make a fortune if we sell the Jedi to Nar Shaddaa. Security shot down that idea pretty quick, but I don't think KotOR and his men are going to give up that easy. I mentioned the trouble to the Jedi's protocol droid, and he seemed concerned about his master's safety. I told the droid not to worry. The KotOR wouldn't. With the protocol droid's help, I made some upgrades to the sonic imprint sensor, using some of the droid's vocabulator subroutines. In addition to its ability to store and record voices, it now has the droid's full array of alien languages, including Basic. Should prove useful as a portable translator. I tried to make sure the protocol unit got some credit for helping fashion it, but the droid refused, saying the work was reward enough. I was thinking of installing the prototype in one of the mining droids as a test, and see what happens. When the dock officer reported the droids repairing the Ebon Hawk, I installed a voice print ID on the droid console system. Someone ordered them to repair that freighter, but I can't find a trace of the order anywhere. If anyone tries that again, they won't be able to do it from this terminal unless I let them. The voice print should cut any user off from the central functions unless I give the code. The maintenance check on the droids didn't help. If anything, the accidents have increased. Security interrogated me about the droids and they weren't too happy with my answers. I don't understand it though. These aren't combat models. They shouldn't even know how to attack. I can't help but think, what if somebody staged the initial trouble with the mining droids just to get them all sent to maintenance, and then did something to them? I think security's right. Someone's trying to sabotage this facility and they're using the droids to do it. But why?
Okay, one thing I always find interesting about this, I'm just closing off so I can see what the journal says. One thing I always find interesting with the, all the old things and stuff, and I'm just opening the turbo lift because I can, so I can go back to the administration level at any point. I always find it interesting that the miners here are convinced that the HK unit is a protocol droid. Can I just make it explicitly clear that a protocol droid and an assassin droid are completely different things? How on earth are people in the Star Wars universe being completely fooled by an assassin droid claiming to be a protocol droid? They look completely different. A protocol droid is C-3PO looking. Anything that's C-3PO like or any of those type of droids. An assassin droid is like HK-47 and these HK units. They're completely different. I don't know how on earth... These people deserve to die if they were that foolish enough to fall for that. The rest of it here, we can check for exits. We can check other things. It doesn't really let you do much, but what it does do is it gives you a little bit more insight into how, this works. So we can open the door to the airlock. Okay. So we need to basically give it the voice print ID. You can destroy the console, which also opens the door, but I think that's what I probably did in my first playthrough because I was getting quite frustrated. But that's literally the weirdest way to complete this. You could just skip the conversation with the HK droid entirely and just do that. And what we need to do is enter the voice print code once I've checked everything else. Okay, nothing there. We can access cameras. That just shows us... Oh, hold on. Droid maintenance area has been sealed by the emergency lockdown. Okay, that makes sense because otherwise we could get out of here much quicker. Okay, so this just shows us... Oh, hello. So it's currently sealed. Appears to be a damaged T3 unit in there. Yes, let's just double check that again. So yeah, there's T3M4. He's just chilling there, pretty damaged. And then that's where we need to go. So, enter the voice print code.
Maintenance control, voice print ID, R1B5.
And that should open the door. Once we tell it to. And there we go, the door's open. And we can go. We got quite a lot of experience for that. 850 points if I read that properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly destroy these droids and then... Actually, I'm going to run because if they explode next to me, I'm going to lose a bit of health. Okay, let's just take these guys out one by one. That was a good stun there. Okay, one more and then we should be good to go. There we go, that's all the mines dealt with. I'm not quite sure why they're there, but they are. I'm going to carry on with this next time. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.